take away your pain. Turn to Yahuwah, start a brand new day. Start a brand new day.
Shabbat Shalom, friends, which means Sabbath, peace, blessings, and wholeness be given to you in the name of Yahuwah and His anointed one, His Mashiach, Yahushua. Today I want to touch on a very important topic, a topic concerning the seventh-day rest cycle that Yahuwah put forth into motion in the very beginning that we call Shabbat or Sabbath. On the seventh day, Yahuwah rested from all of His works after He has created Haaretz, which is the earth, and Hashemayim, which is the heavens, and the light. And He divided the waters from the waters, and how He created the trees and the fowls of the air, and how He created the fish of the seas, and how He created Adam in His own image, man in His own image, which He made on the sixth day. Yahuwah, during his process of creation, does everything in cycles. The scriptures call these cycles a ya'um, or a yom, as some people call it. This is what we would call a day cycle in our modern understanding. And we see in the scriptures right in the beginning, it starts from evening to evening. And this is a ya'um. Now also, light cycles are also called ya'ums. It's very important to understand the Creator's reckoning of time, because Yahuwah, as the Christians will even admit, and so will those of other religions who use our scriptures, they will all admit that the mighty one of the scriptures, of the prophet Moshe, who's called Moses, and Isaiah, who is Yeshayahu, and Yahushua, who they call by the terrible translation of Jesus, his name being Yahushua. The mighty one of all these men does not change according to the scriptures. He says, I am the same today, yesterday, and forever. He is the only constant that there is in life, the only one that we can run to and know that He will not change, that His mind does not change, His opinions do not change, that He is the same, that He does not change. And if this is the fact of the matter, then we need to examine the scriptures and see what exactly does it say about the Shabbat, the Sabbath, and why has the Sabbath been polluted among most mainstream versions of Christianity. The first thing I want you to notice, however, before we go into any of that, is the very beginning. In Genesis, or Bereshit 2:2, Yahuwah rests from His work. And He sets apart time. He puts His stamp and His seal upon time itself, not setting apart the heavens, not setting apart the earth, not setting apart the trees or the fowls of the air or any of the things which He has created. Neither does He set apart Adam in making him kadosh, or what we call in English holy, which really cannot even be used in this instance. Really the proper translation would be kadosh, because it is a Hebrew thought of being set apart and sanctified strictly unto Yahuwah, the Most High. And He sets apart none of these physical things, but time, my friends, time itself. He sets apart the seventh Ya'um, and He makes it kadosh. It's very important because He makes Adam in His own image. Yet He does not set apart or make kadosh Adam, but He does time. He makes Adam on the sixth day. And then upon the seventh day, Yahuwah rests from all of His labors. We know clearly through the scriptures that Adam knew Yahuwah face to face, that they walked together in the garden, that he had an intimate bond with his Creator. Adam, who is the ancestor of all mankind, enjoyed the very first Shabbat, the very first Sabbath, being made on the sixth day, and Yahuwah resting on the seventh day. Therefore, Adam was the very first to receive the glory of Yahuwah's Sabbath promise. Many people want to call the Shabbat the Jewish Sabbath. This is a lie. It doesn't appear in Scripture. You will never find the word Jewish and Sabbath together in Scripture. But what you will find is that Yahuwah gave his instructions to mankind from the very beginning. If you will read in the book of Genesis and Bereshith, when you get to the story of Noah and the flood, you will notice that Noah doesn't take 2 of every animal as Sunday school and the teachers of organized religion would have you think, but rather he took 2 of every unclean animal and 7 of the clean animals. Therefore, Noah knew the difference between clean and unclean. Being one of the descendants of Adam, he also understood Shabbat, because the Sabbath and the precepts of Yahuwah had been passed along, my friends. The Sabbath commandment is reinstated. Well, it never really went away, but it was given anew, so to speak, to the children of Yisrael when they left Egypt, which is called Mitzrayim. They were slaves, and they were taken out of Mitzrayim, and Yahuwah told them to remember the Shabbat day. Manna would fall from heaven, and they would eat the manna. They would gather the manna 6 days, but upon the 7th day, no manna would fall, so that they would not gather the manna. It's very important that Yahuwah saw it so important for them to go ahead and do their works upon 6 days and rest on the 7th day. And we have this cycle of them knowing when the Shabbat was in the wilderness, and we have history that backs up the Shabbat today and what day it is. My friends, in the 10 Commandments, you can look at this in Exodus chapter 20. I dare you to look at it, my friends, those of you who are in question of whether you should or should not keep the Shabbat. And those of you who do keep the Shabbat, I know this is a breath of fresh air to you. In Exodus chapter 20, the very 4th commandment, after Yahuwah introduces himself in the 1st commandment, saying, I am Yahuwah, your mighty one. You shall have no other mighty ones against my face, which the Christians do not understand because they don't know who Yahuwah is, but they understand his character, understanding and reading and trying to understand many of his words, though they fall short. But my point being, of the 10 Commandments, they teach the 10 Commandments to their children. Of course, they don't use the name of Yahuwah. They cover it with Lord and God and things of that nature. But they teach it to their children in Sunday school, and the children can memorize it, and it's all fun and games, and it's nice, it's cute. But what I want you to notice about the 10 Commandments, my friends, is the very fourth commandment, is the only one in the Christian church that they say, well, we don't have to keep that one. Yes, we don't need to murder, we don't need to kill. Sure, we should honor our fathers and our mothers. And yeah, we shouldn't have carved images, though many of them do. And even though they think that they should have no other gods before God, which makes no sense, is very confusing until you understand that you're not supposed to have any other mighty ones before Yahuwah, who is not just some vague deity, but has a specific name and a particular characteristic and has identified himself with his word through his prophets. Now, when you get to the fourth one, the fourth commandment begins, remember. The only one in which that most Christian pastors will tell you that we are not obligated to keep begins, remember.